Hello everybody, Connor here, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming Retrospective. Mario Kart Wii is one of the most popular games in the Mario Kart franchise. For some people it's their favorite, and for others it's just an average Mario Kart game. This game holds a special place in my heart. My first Mario Kart game was Super Circuit, but Mario Kart Wii was the first Mario Kart I had for a home console, and I feel like that's a similar experience for a lot of people. The Wii was so popular back in the day, so it made sense that the Mario Kart for the system was too. It was the second best-selling game for the Wii, only behind Wii Sports, and they forced you to have that game. Mario Kart Wii was Game 6 in the Mario Kart series, releasing a few years after Mario Kart DS. The game was announced at E3 2007. It was unveiled with a trailer showing off some of the new characters and courses being added into the game. Some more details were later revealed during a Nintendo conference in October 2007. Here we learned that this entry would be adding bikes to the game. This was something that was considered for Mario Kart ever since Double Dash on the GameCube, but was always rejected because the idea of Mario on a bike was just too absurd. Mario Kart Wii was also originally going to be called Mario Kart X, with X standing for Extreme since they were including bikes, but they decided on Mario Kart Wii, which makes sense because it's Mario Kart for the Wii, and Mario Bike just doesn't have a good ring to it. Alongside the announcement of bikes, they announced an accessory for the Wii releasing with the game, the Wii Wheel. The Wii Wheel is one of the simplest and most effective Wii attachments. You just pop the Wii remote in and bam, it's a wheel. The Wii Wheel is one of the best accessories made for the Wii. It's a bit basic, but it actually took Nintendo around 30 designs to get it perfect. They wanted the design to be lightweight and easy to hold for a long period of time. It's simple, but effective. It has a hole for the strap and a bigger B button that's so satisfying to push. They also give it a nice little logo on the back to give you something to look at. I even made it the centerpiece to my living room. It also wasn't just used for this game either. Many games on the Wii were compatible with the Wii Wheel, and by many I mean pretty much all of them, because you could just slide the Wii remote inside and it works exactly the same as before. It's funny because they list the Wii Wheel on the back as one of the compatible controllers for the game, like it's any different than just using the Wii remote. Why wouldn't it be compatible? Besides that, it's still insanely comfortable. It's the only way I played Mario Kart Wii as a kid. The wheel controls weren't that bad. You accelerate with 2, use items with the D-pad, and tilt the controller to turn. I actually got good using the wheel, but once I started playing with an actual controller, I just couldn't go back. Something just feels off with the motion controls. I can't tell if it's too sensitive or unresponsive, but I know many people still enjoy using motion controls for Mario Kart, and I give them props for it. It's just not for me. If you don't like the motion controls, you have the option of using the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, the Wii Classic controller, or the GameCube controller. Mario Kart Wii ended up releasing on April 27, 2008 and sold like crazy. It sold more copies than any of the previous entries in the series. And it makes sense due to how popular the Wii was and the wheel. This game actually introduced a lot of concepts into the series, one of them being the trick system. To perform a trick, you just have to shake the Wii remote or hit the D-pad when you're in the air, and you'll get a boost when you hit the ground. This is such a good addition to the series. It makes the ramps a lot more fun to drive over, because landing a trick is just so satisfying. It always feels weird going back to the previous games and not being able to perform tricks. The addition of bikes also added some changes to the gameplay. The bikes control a bit different compared to the karts. You're able to pop wheelies, which increase your speed. The drifting on the karts are also a bit better than the bikes. It's pretty obvious when playing that the bikes are the star of the game. Starting up the game for the first time brings you to one of the most bland Mario Kart title screens. After that, you're met with the save selection screen, which introduces save files to the series as licenses. Unfortunately, they're not actual licenses and won't hold up in the court of law. After the save select screen, you get to select from a whole list of options. You get the classic Grand Prix, time trials, versus, and battle mode. After this, you get to choose from the most characters ever available in a single Mario Kart game so far. There's a total of 24 racers to choose from. They added Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Rosalina, Dry Bowser, Funky Kong, and holy it's me. Funky Kong was definitely the most popular character in the game and objectively the best stat-wise. Funky Kong and the Flame Runner bike is one of the most iconic duos of all time. The Mii outfits were also really interesting. They took the height and weight stats from the Mii channel and used it to determine the character's weight class. One thing I liked about this game was that many of the characters were unlockable. You can unlock the majority of them through playing the Grand Prix, and there's also some characters that needed to be unlocked by beating staff ghosts in the time trial mode. I really enjoy this aspect of the game because it gives a good incentive to play through the time trial mode. I always had a good time trying to beat staff ghosts, and it helped me get better at the courses by finding shortcuts and the fastest route. One unlockable character that stood out to me was Rosalina. She can be unlocked by completing the Mirror Mode Wii Grand Prix Cups with a star rank or higher, but many players, including myself, unlocked her by having save data on Mario Galaxy. This was always interesting to me because she's both the easiest and hardest character to unlock. It just depends on if you're willing to spend $60 for a copy of Mario Galaxy. Now let's talk about the most controversial aspect of Mario Kart Wii. The items. There's a total of 15 items in the game. You have some returning favorites like the mushrooms, bananas, green shells, red shells, lightning, and stars. The bullet bill and the blooper make their return from Mario Kart DS, as well as the bob-omb from Double Dash and the fake item block, golden mushroom, and blue shell from N64. This is the game where the blue shell finally reached its peak. I swear it just loves to come at the last minute on the final lap and then hits you and you can't recover. This game is really unforgiving when it comes to items. You're probably saying, Connor, you said there were 15 items in this game and you didn't list 15. Well, that's where the 3 new items come into play. The first new item added to Mario Kart Wii was the POW block. The POW block was originally from the Mario Bros. Arcade game, and when hit, it damages all enemies on screen who are on the ground. In Mario Kart, it's similar to the lightning power-up, but not as good. When you use it, it puts a POW block on everyone's screen that's ahead of you and counts down from 3. Once the countdown's over, it spins you out. Unlike the lightning strike, it can be dodged by either being in the air or shaking the controller the moment it strikes. The next item added is the Thunder Cloud, and it's in my opinion the worst item in the entire franchise. When you get the item, you move at a faster speed, but you're on a timer. If the time runs out, you'll get zapped by a lightning strike and become small. The only way to prevent this is to pass the lightning cloud to someone else by bumping them. It's an interesting concept because it adds some adrenaline to the race, but there's not really a benefit to it. Yeah, it speeds you up, but I'd rather just get a mushroom or something that doesn't have a chance of harming me. The last item introduced to Mario Kart Wii is the Mega Mushroom. Originating from New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, it serves the same purpose in that game, and it's just as useful. It makes you big, and it's not useful at all. It pretty much is the same as the star, except you're not fully invincible, so there's no point. There's a reason these 3 haven't made it into another Mario Kart game since this. They're just worse versions of already better items. The item pool in this game is very chaotic and it gets a bit frustrating in single player, but the chaos is extremely enjoyable in multiplayer. There's something so fun about having these items and messing with your friends. The new additions may not be great either, but using them against friends is a lot of fun. One last new addition was that they increased the player count from 8 to 12. I was glad with this change since it added some chaos to the game since there were more racers throwing items. Now let's talk about the courses. There's a total of 32 courses across 8 cups. There's 16 new courses and the retro courses make their return and cover the other 16. Starting with the Mushroom Cup, you got Luigi's Circuit. It's hard to explain why, but this is the most Mario Kart a track can get. There's nothing bad about it, but there's nothing crazy that puts it at the top of my list. You just loop around and there's a small section at the end with a lot of speed boosts. Mario Kart Double Dash also started with Luigi's Circuit, and I prefer that one to the Wii one. You were able to play games of chicken with the racers going the opposite direction. After Luigi's Circuit, you got Moo Moo Meadows, an indirect sequel to Moo Moo Farm for Mario 64. This track is a lot of fun. It has cows, some hills and ramps to do tricks off of, and oh, it has cows. The next track is Mushroom Gorge, and this is the first track I remember playing as a kid. There's a cool gimmick in this level. There's giant mushrooms that you can bounce off of. You just have to be careful not to go too fast or you'll get out of control and fall off the course. To round off this cup is Toad's Factory, or better known as the most underrated course in the game. The concept of this course is that it's the factory that makes all of the item boxes. There's a bunch of conveyor belts scattered around the map and it makes for a good time. It's definitely one of my favorite courses in the game. Moving on to the best cup in the game, the Flower Cup. The cup starts out with Mario Circuit, and it's just your typical Mario Circuit course with chain chomps and piranha plants. It's nothing crazy, but it makes a good start to the cup and sets up the other courses nicely. The next course is Coconut Mall and is easily the most popular track in the game. It takes place in a mall and has escalators throughout that either speed you up or slow you down. There's also a section of the course that takes place in the parking lot and has Mii's driving the cars. It has such an interesting concept and extremely catchy music, so it makes for the perfect Mario Kart track. The next course does the same thing. It's DK Summit and it's another iconic track. This course definitely taps into the extreme sports concept. It has a bunch of crazy slopes and sharp turns, and it's one of the courses I want to play whenever I boot up Mario Kart Wii. To round out the Flower Cup is Wario Gold Mine. This is another course I love. There's a bunch of steep slopes, and in some sections, there's no rails. I remember I used to play this course to prepare myself for Rainbow Road. It's always felt like a more tame version to me. To start out the Star Cup, you have Daisy Circuit. This course is a lot of fun and one of the best courses visually in the game. It has a bunch of loops and curves which allow for a bunch of alternate routes. After that is Koopa Cape, and it's one of my favorite tracks in the game. This one's so cool. The course has underwater tunnel sections, and the water stream makes you go so fast. Maple Treeway is next, and it's the most visually stunning course in the game. It looks insanely good, and it's so fun to race on. Wiggler's in this course, and he can be very annoying, but besides that, it's an amazing track. To end off the cup is Grumble Volcano, and it's also a decent course. I like the gimmick that the course falls apart more and more with each lap, so it makes for an interesting race. To start off the special cup is Dry Ruins. It's a normal desert track, but it does go inside a temple. The sand also fills up the course throughout the race, so it makes each lap unique. Moonview Highway is one of the most frustrating tracks in the game. There's a bunch of cars on the road and it can get difficult dodging them. In single player, it's one of my least favorites, but in multiplayer, it's definitely one of my favorites. It's a fun kind of frustrating in multiplayer because everyone's dealing with the obstacles at once. After Moonview Highway is Bowser's Castle, and it's another great course. It has a giant Bowser in the middle. What more could you ask for? To end off the special cup is Rainbow Road. This Rainbow Road is easily one of the best in the series. It's the longest and most difficult course in the game, and it looks so great visually and has great music. After this, there's 4 more retro cups: the Shell Cup, Banana Cup, Leaf Cup, and Lightning Cup. Each game got 4 retro courses, aside from Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart Super Circuit that got 2. Some of my favorite retro courses are GameCube Peach Beach, N64 Sherbert Land, GBA's Shy Guy Beach, GameCube Waluigi Stadium, N64 DK's Jungle Parkway, Mario Circuit again, DS Peach Gardens, GameCube DK Mountain, and N64 Bowser's Castle. The retro courses definitely don't look as good as the new courses. They're a bit more blocky and desaturated, which is one of the main problems I have with the retro courses. The SNES and GBA courses definitely look the worst out of all of them. They just look so empty and lack any environment. The battle mode also made its return, but it's a bit weak compared to the other games. This battle mode uses teams. It has the red team and the blue team, and each mode is timed. If you're playing locally, your team's filled up with computer players. Balloon Battle makes its return from the previous games, and they introduced Coin Battle as a new mode. Coin Battle takes inspiration from Shine Runners from the DS, but the objective to this game is to collect the most coins. Having the battle mode be team-based under a time limit was a bit annoying for local multiplayer, but it made a lot of sense for online multiplayer. Mario Kart Wii was the first home console Mario Kart to feature online multiplayer, and it was great. I remember making so many fond memories playing Mario Kart Wii online with friends. Matches only consisted of 1 race compared to the 4 from traditional multiplayer. The matchmaking system was also skill-based, and they would try to group players with a similar versus rating rank. There was also a special rating for battle mode too, called Battle Rating. They also introduced the Mario Kart channel for the Wii that allowed you to access special game modes like tournaments, ghost races, and friends. It also showed you your time trial rankings compared to your friends. Sadly, all good things come to an end, and both the online multiplayer and Mario Kart channels were discontinued. Some dedicated Mario Kart Wii players have created workarounds for online play, and the game is still extremely popular. Mario Kart Wii is definitely one of the best entries in the series. It makes for great multiplayer fun with friends, and I always find myself going back to it to play courses and run through the Grand Prix. This game will always hold a special place in my heart. It was the first Mario Kart I had for a home console, so I have many great memories with it. It also did the unthinkable. It saved me from playing Mario Kart Super Circuit.